a Chinese trader named Zhou Deguan entered Angkor, the capital city of the Khmer Empire. In his journal, he wrote, "At the magical center of the kingdom rises a golden tower flanked by more than 20 lesser towers and several hundred stone chambers. On the eastern side is a golden bridge guarded by 2 lions of gold, one on each side, with 8 golden Buddhas spaced along the stone chambers. North of the golden tower rises the Tower of Bronze, higher even than the golden tower, a truly astonishing spectacle with more than 10 chambers at its base. These towers of gold are the temples built during the reign of Jayavarman VII at Angkor, the most famous of which, built by Jayavarman's predecessor, is Angkor Wat. This account, titled Notes on the Customs of Cambodia, is the only eyewitness description that we have of Angkor during its height. In 1296 to 1297, Zhou Deguan was part of a Chinese embassy that was spent a year at Angkor. At the time, Angkor was the largest empire in Southeast Asia and was an important trade partner for China. Almost immediately after Zhou Deguan's journals were first published in 1987, Angkor Wat captured the imagination of Westerners who heard stories of magnificent temples shrouded in jungle. Unfortunately, Cambodia was in the midst of a bitter civil war at the time, and Angkor wouldn't reopen for tourists until the 1990s, after almost 2 decades of conflict. But today, more than 2.5 million people visit Angkor every year, and for a good reason. As we'll see at its peak, Angkor was one of the largest pre-industrial cities in the world, and the Khmer Empire was larger than the Byzantine Empire. Included all of present-day Cambodia, as well as large portions of Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, and the Malay Peninsula. The empire thrived for 500 years between the 9th and 14th centuries, and the magnificent city of Angkor was a brilliant reflection of its success. Hi, my name is Sarah Clausen, and I'm an archaeologist who specializes in accessing hard-to-reach sites. My team and I use cutting-edge remote sensing techniques, including ground-penetrating radar, light detection and ranging, or LiDAR, photogrammetry, and geographic information system and analysis to uncover secrets hidden in the past. Today, we're going to explore the mysteries of one of my favorite sites, the Khmer city of Angkor. We'll learn who built the city and its most mesmerizing temples. We'll see how it was built and maintained. And then we'll examine several theories that try to explain what caused its ultimate decline and fall. First, it's important to get a sense of scale at Angkor. There are more than 1,000 known temples, ranging from scattered and disparate piles of rubble to some of the world's largest and most impressive religious monuments. But of all the temples at Angkor, the most famous is Angkor Wat. It measures more than 400 acres in area, and the central tower rises to a height of nearly 215 feet. The stone for many of the temples at Angkor was quarried up to 21 miles away and transported to Angkor via a network of channels. Each block weighed up to 1.5 tons. The entire complex is surrounded by a massive moat that's over 5 kilometers long. The moat is so large that the water within it actually acts to stabilize the foundation of Angkor Wat. The temple was originally dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu, but was converted to a Buddhist complex by later kings of Angkor. In addition to these temples being absolutely massive, there are also records suggesting that they were plated with gold. These records are supported by holes in interior walls of one of the temples that could have been used to hold the metal in place. Angkor Wat was also allegedly covered with gold leaf, and artists have drawn brilliant reconstructions of what that may have looked like. But the real cost of a temple is not its initial construction. It's actually the maintenance. Inscriptions from one of the temples at Angkor indicate that almost 80,000 people were involved in supplying the temple with goods and services. The majority of these, around 66,000 people, were included in the extended economic catchment. while 12,640 people lived within the enclosure and were responsible for its maintenance and functioning. This included over 600 female Apsara dancers. These beautiful dancers were meant to narrate classical myths or religious stories and represented important motifs in Angkorian temples. At Angkor Wat, there are hundreds of Apsara dancers in bas-reliefs. It's possible that each bas-relief is of an individual dancer. One of them is particularly interesting because of what she is holding. She has a pad with inscriptions on it, which suggests that she could read. She would have been a higher class woman, but not top ranked. Because of the location of this specific bas-relief at Angkor Wat, we know she was not of the upper level Apsara rank. Think about a medieval period society where there were middle class women who were literate. That raises questions about the society that built Angkor Wat. Who were they, and how were they able to create such massive pyramids? When people think of Angkor, most think of Angkor Wat. And it's not a surprise because Angkor Wat is big. It's one of the largest religious monuments in the world. But Wat actually means temple, and Angkor Wat is the largest of hundreds of temples within the vast site of Angkor. So let's look at the history of the Khmer Empire. Khmer inscriptions suggest that a Khmer king, Jayavarman II, founded the kingdom in 802 CE by uniting independent groups of Khmers into one principality. After unification, urbanizing the empire was rapid and expansive. So was extending the reach of the empire. By the 12th century CE, the empire ruled most of mainland Southeast Asia. It continued to flourish until the 13th century before entering a period of decline.